And they'd be hiding behind the pillar there by the bar. Oh, I see.
Did you go to that? Well, we passed yesterday.
She's beautiful. Send her off.
have to.
Yeah.
Then you'll be embarrassed.
sandang si Troy.
Ang ginahood na mula ko sa ako.
And then the miners table.
She's not.
Filming a period drama on the beach.
I just said we can take away from Yarra. So,
I think it's going too long.
unless they come on the bus.